Hey team, and welcome to the next fitness thing. This is Alexis. I am live and recording this for you in California, and you are here for this 15-minute trainer AMA walk. So AMA means ask me anything. This class is your chance to ask our trainers whatever you want to know, and we are here to answer your questions. So I have a list of questions that were submitted by you, our teammates, and I'm here to answer them. Now, if you want to send in questions for future Ask Me Anything walks, then please do. The link to send in a question is amawalk.thenextfitnessthing.com. So if you want to do that, then please do. We would love to have your questions come in. All right, so I have a list of questions. These ones are kind of more personal than what we were doing in the past, and that's pretty fun. So, okay, I'm just gonna start with an easy one. Pick your favorite squats or deadlifts. This is honestly a hard question because I'm not gonna say I love doing both of these moves. I don't really mind doing either one of these moves, but the thing that makes this my favorite is just how functional and important it is in life. So with deadlifts, that's like the action of picking something heavy up off the ground. Now that is actually super important as well. So there's part of me that wants to choose deadlift, but honestly, I have to go with the squat. Now, the reason I have to go with the squat is because this is the action of picking something up off the ground. You could pick something light off the ground with the squat, not light, medium to light, you know. Squat is actually the action that your body is made to get down into a squat to pick something off the ground, but we don't really tend to do that. We tend to kind of do the bend and snap when we pick stuff up off the ground. But the squat is also the position to sit down and stand up, which is something that in our culture we do a lot sitting down, right? So to sit down, stand up properly, squatting is important, and I challenge you right now to see if when you stand up, whether it's from the couch or your chair or your desk or wherever you might sit down, do you put your heels on the ground? I just challenge you to notice that, because if you are standing up from seated properly, your heels are down as you stand up. So check in with that for yourself. That said, squatting is also the position where we are made to go to the bathroom, and I'm talking about number 2 here. So this is actually really important, right? Like if you can't go to the bathroom, you can't live. You need to be able to go to the bathroom. So to be able to do this properly, it is a super deep squat. Now, here's one thing that I could just go on a rampage for way more than the 15 minutes that this class is. But the position that you're made to do this in is in nature, right? Your body is made to evacuate your bowels in nature, which means that you would be pooping on the ground. So it's not the same posture as pooping in the toilet. So that means that you would want to get really low, right? So that you don't poop on your feet. So you'd want to get really, really low into a super low squat. So I know in some cultures this is still a thing, and if you're into camping and backpacking in the woods, then you may still have this be a thing in your life. So I would encourage you to just notice if this is possible for you to get down really low to be able to do this. And at the same time, if this is an issue for you, if being able to fully evacuate your bowels is something that is a concern in your life, and on some level it's a concern in all of our lives, I don't know if you've seen the thing like the squatty potty where it gives you something to put your feet on when you're pooping, but I totally recommend it. It's something that I wholeheartedly recommend, because that position is the natural position you're made to do that in. So I'm totally into the squat. P.S. We are all also made to like cook dinner and do a lot of things in this position of the squat, right? You're not really made to have a table and a kitchen counter and all that kind of stuff. So if we didn't have those things, where would you be preparing your meals and working with tools and building your crafts and all those things? On the ground, right? So you would be in this super low squat position to access the ground to be able to do those things. So again, the squat is an important position for your body to be able to do, and getting really low in the squat and making that a thing is really helpful for your body. Usually ankle mobility is the limiting factor. So if you find that you're not really able to get super low in your squat, then come to yoga and I will help you out with that and we'll work your ankle mobility. Okay, so that was a very long-winded answer for my favorite, but squat for sure. Okay, the next question I'm gonna answer is, where and what was your most outlandish workout? Okay, now with this, honestly, there's one workout that hands down just wins on this. And that was a Navy SEAL workout that I did. This, I don't know if you know about this, but I am a course instructor, meaning I'm like train the trainer person for TRX. And I don't know if you know what TRX is, but it's these straps that hang from above and use your body weight for resistance. We've never used them on our platform. Would you be interested to use them? If so, I would love to hear that because maybe we could. But anyway, basically, I was at a convention for TRX and the guy who invented the TRX straps was formerly a Navy SEAL. So he thought it would be really, really fun for us to experience a Navy SEAL workout. So he brought some Navy SEALs, drill sergeants, to this convention and we did a Navy SEAL workout. Seriously, you guys, I was literally crying. It like PTSD crying. It was so intense. We had these giant logs. They were maybe, I don't know, at least 15 feet long, maybe 20. They were long. There were probably 8 to 10 people on each of the logs, and they would give out a drill call. Like they would like, "Mah!" And then you had to lift the log. Everybody standing on one side of the log, you had to lift it like to your shin, and then they'd call something else and you had to lift it to your waist, and they'd call something else, and everybody on the same log had to do it together. And if you made a mistake, then they would like punish you, and you had to, lift the log up and put it down on the other side, or everybody had to start over. And so if that wasn't bad enough, doing all these drills like that with the log that was so intense, it was so heavy, and I was on the smallest log because they did it by height. So it was all of the smallest women that was on the log with me. So it was so heavy. Some of the other logs had a bunch of big dudes where they're all like super strong. They didn't think it was that hard. I thought it was so hard. And then they had a race where we had to take this huge log and carry it and run, like as a team, all of us, like walk or run with it, drag it. We had to swim with it through the ocean, no life jackets, shoes on, swim out and around like a buoy and back. And then you had to flip the log end over end, lifting it up, and then it slams on the ground. Then lift the other side up and it slams on the ground. So it's a race. So there's logs slamming to the ground on both sides of you with people who are totally not trained to do this. It was so dangerous and it was scary. Oh my gosh. I was like, well, the Navy SEALs is clearly not for me. I was crying. I was just like, I had no idea I was in for that. It was just like, whoa. So yeah, I would say that was the wildest workout I have ever done, and I don't think I would ever do it again, to be honest. Nope. Hard pass on Navy SEAL workout. Okay, next question. Next question is, describe a typical day of your health and nutrition and fitness routine. Okay, this is an interesting question. Okay, so for me, it's like right now my life is a little bit wild, but I'm going to give you a typical normal day. So a normal day, I would wake up, and the first thing that I do when I wake up usually is meditate. So I would set a timer and go and sit, and I would sit on my meditation cushion, or sometimes I do it on the couch, sometimes I even do it in bed, and I would meditate for like not too long, maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So I usually start with meditation. From there, ideal world, from there I go for a walk. Now it depends if I actually woke up early. I'm not an early bird. I'm like somebody who likes to sleep in. So ideal world, then I go for a walk. That happens maybe just not every day, but I would like for it to happen more often. From there, I usually do have breakfast in the morning, and almost every day I have some version of eggs for breakfast. So I usually have eggs and veggies, or eggs. Sometimes I have some kind of other meat like bacon or sausage with it. I usually have eggs for breakfast. Occasionally I have oatmeal, or occasionally I have something else. But usually I eat protein in the morning and veggies. From there, I generally start work. So I'll work until lunch. At lunch, most of the time I don't have time to make lunch. So I often eat leftovers because I'm working from home. So I often eat leftovers for lunch, or maybe I'll have a salad or a smoothie or something kind of fast for lunch that's easy. So lunch is usually pretty just like something easy. And then I work more. And I usually work a lot. So I will often work until, the sun is totally down. So like I'm recording this right now at like 7 p.m. and I'll probably work for 2-3 more hours after this. But I usually will at least take a break for dinner. And I try to be able to be present for dinner, like have dinner with my boyfriend, like maybe make dinner, and participate in not just work 24/7 life. So for dinner, usually we have some kind of protein and some vegetables, and then whatever else goes with that. So I will generally have dinner, and then I do tend to work at night, but I really like to work out at night. That is really my time. That is my workout time, is at night. I'm a night owl. I am somebody who just, the morning is hard for me, and the night is when my brain is on, it's when my body is on, is when I'm ready. So a lot of times I'm teaching exercise classes or something where I physically have to do that. So that would be one version of working out at night. But otherwise, I do like to either work out at home or go to the gym. I love going to the gym, actually. And I like to work out in the mirror. I like to work out when there's some other people in the gym. I don't usually want to be alone in the gym, but I don't mind it. I do like to have a mirror, and I like to lift weights. I also like to dance in the mirror, and I like to do a lot of things with that. I like kickboxing, I like stretching, I like yoga. I really like anything acrobatic, so that's usually my typical day. And then before bed, I almost always take a bath. Pretty much every day I'll take a bath. A lot of times when I'm working at night, I'm working in the bathtub. That's my favorite, is to work in the bathtub. Well, not necessarily work, but take a bath is my favorite. So I often will, especially at night, especially if I don't really feel like working, but I kind of need to, then I will bring my computer, and I have like a little computer thing to keep the computer out of the water. And I'll work in the bathtub before bed. And then I get out of the bathtub, and I pretty much always meditate before bed. Sometimes I do that silently. The morning one is usually silent. The evening one, I often use some kind of meditation tool. So I might listen to a guided meditation. A lot of times if I'm kind of riled up, especially when I'm working at night, sometimes I will put on an audio track, like a meditation, guided meditation that I use a lot, like one that I use frequently. So then that becomes sort of a trigger to help me to fall asleep. So that if I use that meditation on a regular basis, then every time I hear that meditation, then it just makes me fall asleep. My favorite one that I use right now is like a melted butter meditation, where you picture butter melting like over the top of your head, and then it kind of calms you down and is soothing as it flows over your body. I know that sounds weird, but it's great. If you want the link to that, it's a YouTube video, feel free to hit me up and I would be happy to share it with you. Yeah, and that's basically a typical day for me. I my days aren't always the same. I've been down doing a lot of things like with my family recently and helping them out a lot. So my routine is not usually normal when I go and do that. So I try to keep whatever pieces of it I can. So I at least do the night meditation for sure. Yeah, that's bare minimum is the night meditation. That definitely happens every day. Yeah. And okay, I guess we're 15 minutes. Wow, that went fast. Well, thank you. Thank you for checking out. Thank you for caring enough to participate in my AMA walk. It was such a pleasure to have you here. Now, just so you know, I teach a lot. I teach Tuesday, Thursday nights. I also teach usually most days at 10 a.m. Pacific, and some other times too. But if you want to check out my class, I would love to have you there. And again, if there's anything else you want to know about me or any of the other trainers, please go ahead and submit your questions, amawalk.thenetsfitnesslean.com. And thank you. Thank you for making it all the way to the end.
I'm Dietitian Sharon here with round 3 of our TNFT Trainer AMA walk. By now, I know you all know that these walks are your opportunity to get to know the trainers and determine what topics to chat about by submitting your questions online. Before I jump into the third round of topics, I encourage you to set an intention for this walk. Why did you show up today? What do you want to achieve from being here? Be mindful of how your body feels and what is happening around you. Take a deep breath in, turn on your tracker, and let's go. Topic number 1. What is a funny fitness memory you have? Well, I never watched Jane Fonda, but I'm sure I have a few of them. Gosh, I think my favorite memory is probably doing Billy Blank's Tybo. He was the first trainer that I loved to hate. You know that meme about trainers saying last rep leading to having trust issues? He was definitely that guy. He fibbed about reps remaining, totally him, and I loved watching him and his daughter Shelly Blanks punch it out. I loved it. And I could pop in my DVD and get a great kickboxing style workout with stretch bands. Man, I don't even want to admit how many rounds I probably did or the number of DVDs gathering dust upstairs, but I would never do any of these workouts in front of people. I had to play them in a room all alone, like completely by myself, nobody home. And on that note, when I was losing that previously talked about freshman 20-something pounds, I didn't like going to the gym. I was very self-conscious, and I also hated doing all that extra laundry, right? But that summer, I would only really go to the gym if I had a buddy to help show me what to do with the machines and watch out for me. But here's my embarrassing confession. I would jog in place, upstairs, and watch CSI Miami DVDs. Really. And when I went back to college, I would do that in hope that my roommates wouldn't walk into my dorm room. But naturally, it didn't work out the way I'd hoped. But talk about a boring way to work out. I wasn't really in tune with my body, I was only prioritizing cardio, and I had to be all alone. Technology sure has come a long way, and now I have a wonderful community that makes me feel connected, even though we are technically miles and miles apart. But that is probably one of the many reasons I'm not typically a fan of cardio anymore. I was way too self-conscious to run outside after gaining that weight as well. But eventually I stopped caring, and years later I didn't mind going to boxing or TRX or Zumba or boot camp classes. Well, not quite. I kind of minded. I really didn't like tire flipping or kettlebells or having competitions that reinforced speed over proper technique and form because it led to my injury. But I didn't care anymore about looking funny, and I learned to laugh at myself, especially being a little blonde girl rocking Zumba. While we're talking about cardio, Is anyone else still sore? Or were you sore following that gotta have heart baseline 5K? My inner thighs were so tender the next day. And my glute was on fire the entire day. Yeah, one glute. Not sure why the right glute was so angry, and the left was completely fine. Although, I did take that 10-minute lower body replay class on Friday night, thinking that I didn't want to overdo it with cardio. But yeah, I definitely felt it all weekend. I even held off from foam rolling for a day because I was that sore, and I really couldn't stomach it. It hurt so good last night when I finally did it. I might have to start taking Epsom salt baths or something. Let me know all your tips and tricks for improving soreness after running when you haven't run in a long time. Or maybe it's just me who thinks it's totally fine to jump into a 5K once in a blue moon and won't need multiple recovery days after. Okay, roll your shoulders away from your neck, shake out your arms and any tension, and keep up that forward momentum. Now I get to pick my favorite, squats or deadlifts. Deadlifts for sure. Single leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift, staggered stance deadlift, sumo deadlift all day. Okay, well maybe not all day, and definitely not this past weekend with my glute. But typically you need that deadlift version, and I like it. They make me feel strong and empowered, and I like to work my balance with the single leg version most of all. But all the versions help strengthen my hamstrings and build that better butte. At least that's what I keep hearing they should do. Okay, where and what was your most outlandish workout? Outlandish. Man, I don't have any cool stories like the Halloween zombie TRX or Rosie's burpee-a-thon. Outlandish. I had to look it up. Defined as eccentric, odd, peculiar. I might actually need to return to this one. Actually, no. I think MB and a few other teammates know that sometimes I need to take a break from work and have been known to jump into a class in the office. Shh, don't tell my manager. I didn't get a coronation or pandemic break, so to avoid burnout, I would join a live class. It really helped my mental health and made it not as terrible in 2020. I've definitely done some kickboxing in a very tight office before. But every so often my roommate returns earlier than I anticipate, and I have to collect my mat and equipment and act like nothing was going on. Or sometimes I have to turn off the volume completely and answer a call. But for the most part, I have very few interruptions. I definitely wore out my Casual Friday company t-shirt though. Like, I should make a cutoff. Make it sleeveless to really embrace or maybe hide the fact that there's holes in the armpits. I feel like that's almost a badge of honor though, for getting up and adding movement to the sedentary part of my day. Maybe? I don't know. It is kind of embarrassing. Although my coworker had to leave to Germany, gave me her t-shirt, so now I can continue to wear jeans on Friday. But hey, I mean, I think that means they were cheaply made if they can't withstand some jab, cross, hook, uppercuts, and a couple of roundhouse kicks, right? Okay. Anyhow, that's probably as outlandish as it gets for me. Other than running a 5K as a mermaid on Halloween with scales painted on my cheeks and crimped hair around the neighborhood. Alright, we passed the halfway point. I know a lot of you have an Apple Watch, and I was like a few weeks ago years old when I realized that I could program my workouts to a time goal instead of the open setting. And Siri will pop on and tell me the halfway point. I knew I could use the timed workout, I just never really knew why I would use it. I saw YouTube telling me that you could get better heart rate data by using the time feature, and it would show up on your phone for biking to make it easier to read than something on the watch. Not sure if the feature is ready for walking yet, But even knowing the halfway point might be motivating for bar, Pilates, cardio, you name it. I wish there was a setting for sitting and talking so that I could she could jump on and tell you when these walks are at the halfway point so I don't miss it. Anyhow, I've only been wearing the watch since 2015, so no big. Probably fine. To be quite honest, I probably don't set my watch to a time because I'm usually in a mad dash to get to the workout. Okay, take a deep breath in. Relax it out. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm chronically in a rush. Moving on. Okay. Describe a typical day of your health, nutrition, and fitness routine. Typical day. Well, lately, in my chronically rushed state of being, I wake up, shower, and rush off to work. I drink a protein shake in the morning because it is easy, and I can have my husband make it. It's usually something with protein powder, or Greek yogurt, frozen fruit, almond milk, and sometimes I add in something else like maca powder or matcha or something to flavor it differently. Oh, and I have to have espresso or homemade cold brew over ice. Lately I've been getting my espresso at work though, so I feel like that's okay because I'm not spending money on it. A few hours later, I used to eat some oatmeal with flax and blueberries and banana and natural peanut butter, but I got weirdly sick one time after eating oatmeal, so it's been a no-go as of late. But it is really cold, and I might need to get back to it again. Instead, I've been eating an egg and cheese sandwich on a whole grain English muffin, or an avocado toast with 2 eggs over easy. And sriracha. Gotta have my sriracha. The shortage had me a little nervous. I eat lunch a few hours later after seeing patients. Typically, I bring my lunch from home, and I've been using a 40-ounce Stanley knockoff from Aldi, my favorite grocery store, and I fill it at least 3 times with water each day. But I'm estimating it's more like 32 ounces each time due to all the ice I have. Then after work, I go home, and if I can make it into a 5 p.m. walk, I'll jump into that with Koa, my min pin. I might have a piece of fruit and some type of protein after, and talk to my dad, who is 96, to see how his day was and help get his dinner ready. Then if I don't have clients, I get to take bar or Pilates or a weights class in app. And afterwards, I make time to relax after dinner with screen time. Sometimes I'll have dessert. I've been known to indulge in gelato or peppermint bark or even dark chocolate. Other times I just don't feel like it. And then sometimes I don't have enough time before I have to lay down and I don't want to have any type of heartburn, so I'll avoid it. Oh, we also like to play Puzzle of the Day or Puzzler together on Alexa. Hopefully she's not listening right now. And I'm including that because it helps my mental health as well as working out or getting fresh air after being in an office or hospital all day. Next question. What is your favorite piece of workout equipment? My iPad or phone. It helps to have a workout at the tip of my finger anytime I need it. I really do like loop bands though, and if I'm in a bar class, my favorite prop of all time is the ball. I also like to use the ball to stretch. Okay, what's your favorite story of something that happened while you were on a walk? This one is kind of tough. I definitely have met people while dog walking. And when I had Tripod, my 3-legged min pin, everyone wanted to stop and say, "Aww," or pity him. But he really did fine on 3 legs. And when he crossed the Rainbow Bridge just before turning 16, he had done well. Like, he never needed a prosthetic. He was able to jump on couches and bed, You know, he might have used doggy steps, but he did really well, and he never needed any help. You know, the vet told me when I got him that as long as he had, you know, kind of a weight control diet, that he would be fine. But he ate everything. Well, maybe not everything. He was pretty picky. But we didn't really restrict him too much, which we're noticing is not working out with our current min pin. But tripod burned a lot of calories, I think. And so he kept it pretty slim, and he didn't have any joint issues, and he stayed pretty healthy till the end. So last year when I was walking by myself after a neighbor saw me, she inquired about him, and it turned out she had lost her adult two-legged son that week. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know that I needed that, but I kind of turned off my phone from a walk, and we started, you know, talking and sharing stories. I think I sobbed for a good 45 minutes. I don't really know if she needed to vent as much as I needed a good cry, but it felt somehow right to stop and connect with someone who is going through a rough time. It gave me a lot more perspective too. Can you believe it? I know I'm shocked at the end of every one of these, but whew, 15 minutes went by in a flash.